For our Tuesday Tech Tip, I want to talk to you about what they're calling the 2021 digital migration. I want to talk to you about what that looks like and really what that means as we look forward into the future, into 2022. Stay tuned. Okay, I want to talk to you about what they're calling is the 2021, the Great Digital Migration. And ultimately, this is a study that ForgeRock, a security firm, just put out, and they are talking about just the trends that we saw in 2021. And here's just a couple of statistics to kind of kick us off. There was a 450% increase in username and password exclusions. So what that means is ultimately the bad guys are able to get our usernames and passwords more effectively. So you say, well, how could that happen? Well, a lot of it is because people are working from home and they're working on networks that are and computers that are much less secure than at the office, and the bad actors are taking advantage of that. Another stat here is 43% of breaches are caused by unauthorized access, which basically means that these bad guys have the ability to take our passwords and our usernames, and then they're able to elevate their privileges, and they're able to take something that they've basically stolen and then figure out how to gain more unauthorized access into systems by using some of the tools that they have readily available to them. Another one statistic here is that 34% of breaches target healthcare, which again is really no surprise whenever you look at we're in the world pandemic of COVID, and people are on edge about that, and they are they're very likely to click. And then another stat here that I want to focus on just for a second is that there was a staggering 2x amount of time that people spent on time online in 2021. That is absolutely staggering, because that number was already high, and we have a 2x on that. And so you say, how did that happen? Well, think about it. All that commute time, is now basically plopped down in front of a computer. And ultimately, whenever we spend a lot of time doing something like that, it fatigues us. So here's some tips on how we can kind of beat the bad guys. Well, first off is you need to take breaks throughout the day. You need to figure out that work-life balance where people working from home a lot of times, they will just work and work and work and work. They'll work before their shift starts. They'll work after their shift starts. They won't take breaks in between. So they're much more likely to be in front of a screen. They're much more likely to be fatigued. They're also much more likely to sign up for new accounts. So when signing up for new accounts, we want to make sure that we're not using the same username and password. Even today, they still say 65% of people are using the same passwords across multiple logins. Your email password might be the same as your bank, might be the same as your password where you log in. You really want to use different passwords. And I use a product called LastPass, and it used to be they had a free version. Now they charge for it, but it's really worth the money, because I really don't even know my passwords anymore. They're securely kept and encrypted, and they can be very complex. And I just click a button and boom, I have access to them, whether it's on my mobile device or on my computers. And it'll share between different computers that you log into. Really easy to use, very effective, and very cost effective as well. And finally, we want to use multi-factor authentication. We want to have it to where whenever we go to log in, even our social media accounts, just like with our bank, where it texts us a code, or there's some authenticator apps out there. Google makes one, Microsoft makes one. We use a product that's kind of universal called Duo. It's a product that Cisco owns. You want to use a multi-factor authentication. And I'll throw one more thing in there, is the device that you're connecting to from home must have the same type of security tools and management that your office computer does. You've got to have some form of a firewall at your house. You've got to be patching that system. You've got to have endpoint detection and response, which a lot of people would call antivirus, on that machine that is not the freebie version, but the version that's being managed by your IT department. I hope these things are helpful. If you have questions, I'm always here to help. Stay safe this year. Let's make it a great 2021.